Releasing the report. Sources say the House Ethics Committee is reversing course, now planning to unseal its findings into allegations that former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz had sexual encounters with a minor. It comes as the Hill is also dealing with a looming government shutdown, with President-elect Trump, incoming Vice President J.D. Vance, and Elon Musk all coming out against it. Plus, the suspect in the healthcare CEO's killing is expected to waive extradition as he remains in Pennsylvania, but the judge will ultimately have the final say. When we'll find out if and when Mangione is coming back to New York City to be arraigned. And
a whole lot of people, they tell me that they're Christians, but they just don't go to church.
Yeah.
But they're just so tied up with all these other things that they don't attend anymore. They don't feel they have time, or other things seem to have a higher priority.
More religious holidays are upon us, but the pews in many places of worship may not be filled. Each year, fewer people attend services regularly, and it's putting the future of some churches in jeopardy. In our prime focus tonight, how these institutions are trying to adjust to the changing times. Good evening, everyone. I'm Linsey Davis. Thank you so much for streaming with us. With the holidays around the corner and Washington on the verge of a government shutdown, it seems Republicans are unable to get on the same page. President-elect Trump is telling aides he's against the proposed bill that Speaker Mike Johnson is urging his party to support. This is on the heels of major public criticism from Elon Musk. Speaker Johnson says it's critical to pass the bill, which would fund the government until March, when the new Republican trifecta can start passing their agenda. Late today, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said Democrats had an agreement with Republicans to give disaster assistance to everyday Americans. In a statement, Trump says Democrats are holding up aid to farmers and disaster relief and has threatened to primary Republicans who support the bill. Meantime, Elon Musk has threatened that anyone who votes for the bill will be voted out in 2 years. This comes as ABC News has learned the House Ethics Committee quietly voted earlier this month to release that controversial ethics report on embattled former Representative Matt Gaetz, Trump's brief pick for Attorney General. We're standing by to break it all down. We begin tonight with our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, in Washington.
Tonight, after a relentless pressure campaign from billionaire Elon Musk, Washington is now barreling towards a possible government shutdown just days before Christmas. Musk calling a shutdown infinitely better than passing a horrible bill, threatening that any lawmaker who supports it deserves to be voted out. The bipartisan deal that would keep the government up and running for 3 months was brokered by Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson.
We got to get this done, because here's the key. By doing this, we are clearing the decks, and we are setting up for Trump to come in roaring back with the America First agenda.
But this morning, Musk, who President-elect Donald Trump has tapped to lead a new Department on Government Efficiency, posting on X, this spending bill is a crime. The bill would fund the government through mid-March. Among other things, it includes $100 billion in disaster relief and billions more in assistance for farmers. But Musk says it's also bloated with wasteful spending. Republican leaders today caught off guard by Musk's pressure play.
There will be a lot of hard votes in the next couple of years, and it's not always going to be the case that the outside world, the social media audience, is going to be weighing in.
If Congress doesn't pass the bill by Saturday and the government shuts down, millions of federal workers could head into the holidays without paychecks. Some will be furloughed, others asked to work without pay. That includes some members of the military and other critical government workers like TSA agents and air traffic controllers, just as the holiday travel craze begins. Late today, Trump finally weighing in, criticizing the bill without telling Republicans exactly what to do, urging them to get smart and tough. But Democrats tonight are blunt.
House Republicans will now own any harm that is visited upon the American people that results from a government shutdown or worse.
Mary Bruce joins us now from the Capitol. So, Mary, what comes next with this bill?
Well, Linsey, that is the big question right now. I can tell you they are scrambling for a plan B. The House Speaker has been huddled in his office all afternoon and evening, meeting with members, trying to figure out what they can do here that can actually get across the finish line. There is some talk and discussion of doing what's known as a clean bill, so just an effort to go ahead and fund the government, keep things up and running for the next few months. But the big question is whether they can actually get enough support to get that passed. Linsey?
Mary Bruce from the Capitol Force. Thanks so much, Mary.
Thank you.
Sticking with Capitol Hill now, let's bring in our Jay O'Brien. Jay, as Mary Bruce mentioned in her reporting, Elon Musk is using his massive platform to slam the government funding bill, but he's also a future member of the Trump administration. Is he bound by ethics standards in these competing roles?
Well, because of this role he's going to serve in the Trump administration, Lindsay, part of this Department of Government Efficiency, but not really a typical federal agency, and Elon Musk not being actually a federal employee is part of that role. He's not subject to the kind of ethics standards that federal employees would typically be subject to. And we know, for instance, that Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren has pointed that out. She sent a letter to that effect to the Trump transition team, and we know from a Trump spokesperson that they brushed off that letter, made some disparaging comments about Elizabeth Warren in the process of confirming on X that they brushed off that letter. And we're seeing now, as Mary pointed out and you point out, this outsized influence of Elon Musk in Donald Trump's Washington already. He really broke the dam this morning when he came out against Speaker Johnson's government funding plan here. I've talked to Republicans on here on Capitol Hill who believe that Elon Musk moved some Republicans against this plan, or at least gave air cover to some Republicans who were already going to be against the Speaker Johnson funding plan. And Donald Trump isn't even in the White House yet, Lindsay. So an expectation here that Elon Musk is going to have an outsized role to play even here, tanking Mike Johnson's plan on how to fund the government.
It sure seems that way. And switching topics now, in reversal, the House Ethics Committee voted to release its investigation into Matt Gaetz. Gaetz was, of course, Donald Trump's pick to lead the Justice Department before he then withdrew his candidacy. But Matt Gaetz isn't in the House anymore. Mike Johnson didn't want the ethics report released, so why the reversal?
And Republicans on the House Ethics Committee, Lindsay, were adamant that they felt they did not have jurisdiction over Matt Gaetz because he resigned to become Donald Trump's pick for Attorney General. And the last we heard from this committee up until today, it was deadlocked 5-5. 5 Republicans voting not to release the report, 5 Democrats voting to release it. It's the only committee in the House that has an equal number of Republicans to Democrats. And so we don't quite know exactly why this shift occurred, but it would have involved at least one Republican on the panel, potentially more, breaking with, as you say, Mike Johnson and the typical line from Republicans on this panel, and voting with Democrats to release this report. We know in this report, according to reporting from our Will Staken, that it involves at least one instance in which a 17-year-old woman, or a woman, testifies that when she was 17 years old and Matt Gaetz was a sitting member of Congress and he was in high school, or she was in high school, Matt Gaetz had sex with her. Matt Gaetz denies that. He also points to the fact the Department of Justice has investigated these allegations and declined to bring any criminal charges. In a lengthy statement today, he said, quote, Lindsay, I'll read from it directly, "It's embarrassing, though not criminal, that I probably partied, womanized, drank, and smoked more than I should have earlier in life. I live a different life now," he says, Lindsay.
Yeah, he went on to say that he worked hard and also played hard. And in another investigation on the Hill, tell us what House Republicans concluded today as they wrapped up their report on the January 6th Capitol attack.
Well, they concluded in their report that, in their view, Liz Cheney, the top Republican on that panel, one of only 2, in their view, committed witness tampering by communicating with a top witness for the January 6th committee, Cassidy Hutchinson, prior to her testimony. Liz Cheney pushes back against that. She accuses the committee, run by a congressman named Barry Loudermilk, of, quote, I'll read from her statement too, intentionally disregarding, Lindsay, the truth in their report here. But it's one demonstration of the fact that Donald Trump has made it clear he wants to potentially exert some of his will when he returns to the White House to go after his political opponents. He's even floated the idea of throwing Liz Cheney and members of the January 6th committee in jail, Lindsay.
All right, a busy day on the Hill. Lots of moving parts today. Jay O'Brien, we thank you so much. The lawyer for the suspect in the murder of a health insurance CEO on a Manhattan street tells ABC News his client will waive extradition and agree to move to New York. Here's Aaron Katersky with the latest.
Tonight, a source close to accused killer Luigi Mangione says he's expected to waive extradition, clearing the way for his move to New York City as early as tomorrow to face charges for the targeted murder of United Healthcare chief Brian Thompson.
I'm ready to bring him back here and to make sure that justice is served to someone who had the audacity to gun down any New Yorker. I don't care what their title is.
Mangione's been in a Pennsylvania prison since his arrest last week. He's due to appear before a judge in the morning and within hours could be brought to New York, booked and arraigned on a charge of murder in furtherance of terrorism.
This was a killing that was intended to evoke terror.
It also unleashed anger at insurance companies and displays of admiration for the alleged killer, something the NYPD called vile.
Social media has erupted with praise for this cowardly attack. People ghoulishly plastered posters threatening the CEOs, other CEOs, with an X over Mr. Thompson's picture.
Outside a gathering of CEOs last night, just steps from the crime scene, protesters called for more violence, invoking the same words found written on the gunman's shell casings.
Defend, oppose, deny, reportedly written on those shell casings. Aaron Katersky joins us now. And Aaron, sounds like tomorrow could be a fast-moving day of developments.
It sure could, Lindsay, because once Mangione is brought to New York and faces a judge, he will have to enter a plea to that 11-count indictment charging first, second-degree murder and other offenses. And then, in all likelihood, the judge would order him held without bail in New York City's jail complex on Rikers Island. Lindsay?
Aaron Katersky for us. Thanks so much, Aaron. And we should note Aaron is part of the reporting team tomorrow night for the 2020 special Manhunt, Luigi Mangione and the CEO murder. We take you inside the case. New details, new reporting tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern on ABC. We turn now to the growing concern over bird flu in this country. Today, California declared a state of emergency because of the number of cases in animals there. And the CDC revealed the first case of severe bird flu in a person here in the U.S. Steve Osinsami reports from the CDC in Atlanta tonight.
California's state of emergency tonight will give public health officials more resources and people to fight the bird flu virus that spread from animals to humans and made dozens of farm workers sick. This year alone, tens of millions of birds have been killed in America from exposure to the avian virus, and 61 people have already gotten sick, half of them in California. But tonight is the first time authorities are reporting that an American is seriously sick. They're only sharing that the sick patient, now hospitalized, lives in Louisiana, is over 65, had underlying medical conditions, and caught the virus from sick and dead birds in their backyard and not on a farm.
What is striking here is that this is the first serious illness, one that required hospitalization. Most earlier cases were mild or asymptomatic. Currently, there is no human-to-human spread, and this is very important because the risk to the general public still is very low.
Most of the human cases have come from the disease spreading to cows, chickens, and turkeys, and then to farm workers who worked with the sick animals. It's one of the reasons why the price of eggs is up more than 37% since last year.
A lot of people concerned about this. Steve joins us now from Atlanta. So, Steve, what advice does the CDC have for everyone tonight?
Well, Lindsay, scientists here are encouraging people to be careful when handling dead animals, in particular birds and chickens. They're really telling people not to touch these animals because it's the contact that, of course, can spread the disease. They're also warning people about raw milk, and the reason for that is because they have collected samples of raw milk where they have found evidence of the bird flu, and so there's a major recall going on right now with raw milk and raw milk products, mostly from farms from California. Lindsay?
All right, don't touch dead animals. Got that. All right, Steve Osinsami for us. Our thanks to you. Yeah. Megan Thee Stallion has asked a Los Angeles court for a restraining order against rapper Tory Lanez, even though he's currently in prison. The Grammy Award-winning singer said that she is being harassed by Lanez, who shot her in 2020. She's alleged that Lanez is orchestrating a harassment campaign through surrogates, including blogger Milagro Cooper. She has also filed a lawsuit against Cooper for defamation, infliction of emotional distress, and cyberstalking. Lanez's attorney responded denying the allegations and saying, quote, "The truth will be fully examined and proven through the legal process." The House passed legislation today requiring more oversight of youth residential facilities. Paris Hilton has been advocating for the bill over the last 3 years. Earlier this year, she provided gut-wrenching personal testimony to Congress about her experience as a victim of abuse. She was on the Hill today for the vote. After its passage, she spoke with our Kira Phillips.
The fact that I can be here today and turn my pain into a purpose and be a voice for so many children who don't have a voice and use my platform for good is the most healing and incredible experience ever.
The bill will now head to President Biden's desk for signing. Tonight, there are multiple storms barreling across the country just as the holiday travel season is starting to ramp up. Let's get right to our chief meteorologist, Ginger Z. So, Ginger, time out this holiday mess for us. And also, is it too early to be dreaming of a white Christmas?
Definitely too early in a lot of places, only because we're going to be warming considerably from Christmas Day on. But I'll show you that in a bit. Lindsay, let's start with what's happening now, because so many people are hitting the roads and getting on the airplanes already. Tonight, we've got this rain, and it is heavy at times from Philadelphia up to eventually Boston as that rain-snow line mixes over in the northern Poconos and Catskills. You'll see the Green and White Mountains pick up some of that snow tonight as well into Maine. We're going to move all of that out, though, after 2 a.m. So everybody's dry for the big travel day tomorrow in the Northeast, but there's a new storm. So we're watching this one. The Twin Cities is nearly a foot below average to date for this season. So that's a big deal. So they need snow, and they're going to get it 3 to 6 inches with a swath that cuts right through central Wisconsin. Madison will pick up some, Green Bay, the north side of Chicago, like Evanston, Winnetka, up to Milwaukee, and then Grand Rapids over in West Michigan, my hometown there. Then it kind of expands as it twirls over. The Appalachia gets it, West Virginia. This is for Friday night. Look at New York City. It's real close to that rain-snow line. So picking up a little bit might feel festive, especially going into the weekend before the holidays. But what won't feel as festive for you potentially is the cold. We're talking the coldest air of the season. Wind chills in the single digits. That is a 9 and an 8 you see on New York City for wind chill on Sunday and Monday. Even Atlanta in the 20s. Orlando in the 40s. Low 40s. That's freezing for them. And sub-zero, obviously, way up in the northern plains. However, the warm-up happens pretty quickly. By Christmas Day on until New Year's, we are much above average, and we're talking the potential for record highs when we're looking at Chicago or, say, anywhere in the Great Lakes down into St. Louis. Lindsay.
Oh, my son is going to be so disappointed. He's already eagerly awaiting a white Christmas here in the Northeast. We'll see.
I hope he gets a little bit on Friday night, maybe to get him in the mood.
We will see. All right, Ginger, thanks so much. In Hawaii, a tragic plane crash was captured on dash cam video. The single-engine Cessna was flying low. It's seen banking sharply to the left, careening out of control, and then crashing in a fireball. There were 2 pilots on board. Neither survived. ABC's Gio Benitez covers aviation for us.
Tonight, crews digging through the rubble as the FAA and the NTSB investigate how this single-engine Cessna, seen here making a hard left turn, crashed into an abandoned building moments after takeoff. Air traffic control capturing the final words from a pilot aboard the Kamaka Air cargo plane on a training mission, scrambling to find a place to land in Hawaii.
Kamaka 689, you're turning right? Kamaka 689, we are out of control here. Okay, Kamaka 689. Okay, if you can level it off, that's fine. Any runway, any place you can do.
Dashcam video showing the plane making a rapid descent before the crash, bursting into a ball of flames just outside Honolulu Airport.
The airplane almost on a 90-degree bank, which is almost unrecoverable at that point, could be a result of something going wrong physically with the airplane's flight controls, or it could have been because the aircraft got too slow.
That plane had 8 flights Tuesday before taking off around 3:15 p.m. Both people on board died in the crash. Tonight, we're learning their 22-year-old Hiram Defries training for his pilot's license, and Preston Kaluuya.
Our thanks to Gio Benitez. Still much more to get to here on Prime. What would you pay for an ancient copy of the 10 Commandments? The record-breaking sale next. And with each year, America is losing more places of worship. Are we losing our religion? Our in-depth report next.
My personal opinion is simply that, we've become a culture that doesn't need God as much as we think we do.
On the morning of Christmas, wake up the house.
For all will be stirring, especially this mouse.
Gather the family for special holiday performances by Elton John, 17, John Legend, the cast of Descendants, The Rise of Red, Pentatonics, Anika Noni Rose, Andy Grammer, Carly Pierce, Disney on Broadway, and more.
It's a celebration
You won't want to miss.
Disney Parks' magical Christmas Day Parade.
Streaming Christmas Day on ABC News Live.
Riley's falling asleep.
Okay, crew, let's get to work.
From the world of Inside Out.
There's a lot of memories that need some extra processing, and we send those to Dream Productions.
Please, come on in.
Meet the team behind Riley's dreams.
I've been directing Dreams in Riley's mind for 10 years now.
Disney and Pixar's Dream Productions. Now available only on Disney+.
These are violent criminals, so they're not going to go down easy. Let's get this done.
Being a cop is stressful. 24/7.
Every year on the job is different. You never really stop being a rookie.
Because if we lose control, bad things happen.
Work smarter, not harder.
What makes Elton John so iconic?
Everyone's talking about
Elton John.
Sir Elton John. Elton John.
Elton
John.
There will never be another. Everything that you want Elton John to be is.
Superstar and a legend.
Now, Elton John opens up the exclusive interview with Elton John.
I'm still standing, and I am better than I ever did. And there's a lot more to come.
Elton John, Still Standing. Now streaming on Hulu. ABC Thursday night.
It was a brazen homicide. It doesn't take a genius to realize that Manhattan is covered with cameras. And in this case, the suspect is actually a genius.
There's a story here.
It's just not that simple.
Luigi Mangione, the untold story. How did he go from honor student and Ivy League to alleged killer?
He's a handsome young person. Social media is going nuts for him. It's a made-for-TV drama.
Manhunt, Luigi Mangione and the CEO murder. Thursday night on ABC.
All we want is to find our way home.
I'll get you home. But a crew of murderous bounty hunters is coming after us. We have to move fast.
We have no idea who he is.
You can trust me.
You're a Jedi, right?
Of course.
What just happened?
Watch this.
Skeleton Crew. New episodes Tuesdays only on Disney+.
Welcome back, everyone. We often turn to religion in times of great joy, a birth, a communion, or perhaps a wedding, and also in times of suffering, a death, or national tragedy. But with each passing year, as fewer of us attend religious services regularly, we're losing our places of worship. Our Steve Osinsami has this report on how churches are coping with the changing times and what they're doing to try to keep their doors open.
These are prayerful days for the faithful who used to raise their hearts and minds to heaven and filled the pews in this house of God in Buffalo, New York. This is where neighborhood children learned to sing, where people were married and buried. And what hurts is that after more than a century of worship, this working-class neighborhood on the other side of these stained glass windows is losing something they might miss. This was their final Mass at the All Saints Parish on a warm Sunday in July. And this was the few who came. As empty as it was still many more than they've seen at any service here in years. The priests are encouraging them to take comfort in Holy Scripture that says for everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. Here on earth, they had no choice but to sell.
How many churches have you had to close in the last few years? We closed a number of places. We essentially went to half of what we used to back in the early 2000s.
Wait, you went to half?
Roughly. We lost about 100 parishes.
And we're talking about buildings that are as big as this one.
Not all of them, but yes.
Father Brian Zielinski is one of many religious leaders across America who's had to stand before cameras this year, closing houses of worship. He expects he'll need to shut down another 70 churches and what they're calling their road to renewal, a very biblical name for a modern problem. But it's simple, really. People just aren't going to church as much. On average, more than half of their churches today are baptizing fewer than one person a month, and 59% of them are spending more than they take in.
It's my job and role to not just pray about the situation, but to then look at the hard data and say, where does the church need to move?
And it's not just here, of course.
Correct.
It's not just Buffalo. It's not just New York.
Correct.
It's not just America.
What's happening? My personal opinion is simply that, we become a culture that doesn't need God as much as we think we do.
It's a trend that in religious circles has become an alarm that people around the world are losing their spiritual faith, mostly because of their busy lives. Americans are certainly nowhere near as devout as the Pilgrims who landed with their Bibles on Plymouth Rock and founded the country. And when you fast forward to the late 1940s, nearly 80% would tell you that they belong to a church, synagogue, mosque, or temple. Today, just 45% say the same, and only 32% say that they worship God in a house of prayer once a week.
I have sinned against you.
In survey and polls, the people who are leaving their churches say that the never-ending sins of religious leaders aren't helping. The child abuse scandals and the long list of ministers who failed to practice what they preach.
Coming to you from Praise the Lord Studios in Charlotte, North Carolina.
In the movies, like The Eyes of Tammy Faye Baker,
The Jim and Tammy Show.
Hollywood has helped turn some of religion's most famous ministers into disappointing jokes.
Tammy and I are undergoing the most vicious attacks.
The good pastors out there say it shouldn't be any surprise then that collection plates are light, and that starting in 2019, a year before the pandemic, America was losing as many as 1,000 churches a year. And here's what some of those churches are becoming. Heaven on earth for $1 million or more, a real dollar sign of the times. This old Methodist church in Atlanta was down to about 60 members when they closed, and then sold to a luxury real estate developer 7 years ago. This was the entrance to the church?
This was the entrance to the church.
Yeah. And so the sanctuary would have been where?
Right here where we are.
Today, these are 3,000 square foot condos bathed in light, where Pottery Barn has replaced the sacraments. As that scripture says, for everything there is a season. So this is the top floor?
This is the top floor. This would be the very top of the building. When someone's in the sanctuary, they would look up and see this dental molding that probably looks small from the ground floor, but you can see it's large.
It's gorgeous. The scriptures also say that the devil is busy. And true believers say this is proof. Some of the oldest churches in the world turned into bars and nightclubs. It hasn't come to this yet at the Calcium Church outside Syracuse, New York, but they're worried.
More income would be greatly appreciated, but that's in the Lord's hands.
This was the morning service when Pastor Milton LaSalle told his small-town church that after 171 years, they're in financial trouble. On a good Sunday, he has 35 regular members, and most of them are in the sunset of their lives.
The aging of the church here, of course, is seen all over America. That makes it harder in a lot of ways. For instance, we lost 5 of our members last year to death. A whole lot of people, they tell me that they're Christians, but they just don't go to church.
Yeah.
But they're just so tied up with all these other things that they don't attend anymore. They don't feel they have time, or other things seem to have a higher priority.
Will you be able to stay open?
We will. We've had some pretty tough times in terms of finances. We had to go down to a bare bones budget, is what I call it. We cut out some of the things we were doing and some of the things we like to do. But we're continuing on.
In the fall, we have a clothing giveaway and a school supply giveaway. And then also in the fall, we have a jacket, hats, gloves giveaway. And last year we gave away 45 jackets.
Wow.
I think more churches need to be less organized and more like a family, which is what we are.
You lose sleep over
Yes,
this church closing.
yes, because I don't want to lose my family. My family is very important to me.
And this church.
It gives me purpose to get up in the morning.
Yeah. They believe that people need places to pray more than they know.
We just got a report in that there's been some sort of explosion at the World Trade Center in New York.
And they point to the days and months after the terrorist attacks on September 11th, when people look to God for answers.
We suffer from amnesia.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at the tragedy of 9/11, churches were full immediately following that tragic event because we weren't in control. So who do we go to? We go to a God who is meant to guide us, to see us through tragedy. For lack of a better way of saying this, we've taken for granted that my church will always be there. But we've never asked the question, how is it going to be there? And how is it going to stay?
You have to learn the rules and then say, but what if, right?
Pastor Jasmine Smothers is saving her historic Methodist church from closing with what she says is a God-sized plan. The most profitable thing they own is their land in high-rent Atlanta, and she's using it to build more than 300 apartments in the sky, most of it affordable housing. She says their Bible tells them to help the poor, and their accountant tells them to get into real estate.
The first tower will be about 24 stories high.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
is massive.
This is massive.
Massive.
Yeah, it's literally going to change the landscape of Atlanta in more ways than one.
Is this what's saving this church?
Yes. And I hate to say that, right?
Yeah.
Jesus is our Savior.
Right. Jesus is your Savior. But this affordable housing project
will give us some resources to be able to help those who come to our doors every day and to continue the ministries that provide for the community and the congregation in this place. In the words of one of my friends, this ain't your great-grandma's church.
They say even if every church closes, this God thing isn't going away. That the church will always be the people and not the buildings that come and go. There will always be a need, they say, to find comfort in the heavens.
There's a sociological principle or idea out there that when times are good, people forget God. When times are challenging, they go to God first.
The sale of the All Saints Church in Buffalo will close in 60 days. The priests say they have language in the deal that prevents the new owners from ever turning this into a place that encourages people to sin. No matter how much the good book tells them that things change, they want this always to be a place where God lives.
From their lips to God's ears. Our thanks to Steve Osinsami for that. Still much more to get to tonight. Today, the EPA granted waivers to California, allowing the state to ban sales of new gas-powered cars by 2035. How a Trump presidency and the Supreme Court might throw sand in those gears. But next, we often lament how American students stack up against their international peers in math, language, and science. But are adults doing any better?
It's America's biggest countdown party of the year. Join me, Ryan Seacrest, and my co-host, Rita Ora, live from Times Square. It's Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, with epic performances by Cody Johnson, Lenny Kravitz, Teddy Swims, Thomas Rhett, Tinashe, and more. Now there's a reason to celebrate. Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, live December 31st on ABC.
How many elephants have you killed? True natural beauty, one of the last of its kind. But this comes at a cost. 5 countries, 5 incredible real stories of adventure, danger,
We have to go.
and deceit. Where are we going next? We got this ongoing search for the animal we've been trying to find. These are the last lands. The national parks around the world that have to be saved.
There.
What makes Elton John so iconic?
everyone's talking about.
Elton John.
Sir Elton John.
Elton John. Elton
John.
There will never be another. Everything that you want Elton John to be, he is.
Superstar and a legend. Now, Elton John opens up the exclusive interview with Elton John.
I'm still standing, and I am better than I ever did. And there's a lot more to come.
Elton John, still standing. Now streaming on Hulu.
On the morning of Christmas, wake up the house.
For all will be stirring, especially this mouse.
Gather the family for special holiday performances by Elton John, 17, John Legend, the cast of Descendants, The Rise of Red, Pentatonics, Anika Noni Rose, Andy Grammer, Carly Pierce, Disney on Broadway, and more.
It's a celebration.
You won't want to miss.
Disney Parks' magical Christmas Day Parade.
Streaming Christmas Day on ABC News Live.
All we want is to find our way home. I'll get you home. Got a crew of murderous bounty hunters. He's coming after us. We have to move fast.
We have no idea who he is.
You can trust me.
You're a Jedi, right?
Of course.
What just happened?
Watch this.
Skeleton Crew. New episodes Tuesdays, only on Disney+. ABC Thursday night.
It was a brazen homicide. It doesn't take a genius to realize that Manhattan is covered with cameras. And in this case, the suspect is actually a genius.
There's a story here.
It's just not that simple.
Luigi Mangione, The Untold Story. How did he go from honor student and Ivy League to alleged killer?
He's a handsome young person. Social media is going nuts for him. It's a made-for-TV drama.
Manhunt, Luigi Mangione and the CEO murder. Thursday night on ABC.
Reporting from the Capitol, I'm Rachel Scott. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. We've certainly heard a lot about U.S. students' math scores falling behind their peers overseas, but a recent global test found that many American adults aren't measuring up either. Tonight, the American skills gap by the numbers. About 160,000 adults in 31 industrialized countries were given an exam designed to test key cognitive and workplace skills. The U.S. ranked 14th in literacy, 15th in problem solving, and 24th in basic math. Compared to previous years, the percentage of U.S. workers testing below the lowest proficiency level in all areas rose significantly. 34% had math skills below those expected of a primary school student in the recent test, compared to 29% last time the test was done in 2017. And 23% performed at the lowest level in problem solving, compared to just 12% in top scoring Japan. 8 countries dominated the top ranks in all 3 categories: Finland, Japan, Sweden, Norway, Netherlands, Estonia, Belgium, and Denmark. Education and human resources experts say the test results suggest employers might have a hard time finding American workers capable of basic levels of critical thinking. And we still have much more to get to here on Prime tonight. They're mugs and bowls with sweet little sayings on them. So how'd they become a viral sensation? And as the Supreme Court prepares to weigh in on a possible TikTok ban, we're getting some insight on what's likely to happen with the popular app and what it might mean for its millions of users.
How many elephants have you killed? True natural beauty, one of the last of its kind. But this comes at a cost. 5 countries, 5 incredible real stories of adventure, danger,
We have to go.
and deceit. Where are we going next? We got this ongoing search for the animal we've been trying to find. These are the last lands. The national parks around the world that have to be saved.
There.
On the morning of Christmas, wake up the house.
For all will be stirring, especially this mouse.
Gather the family for special holiday performances by Elton John. 17, John Legend, the cast of Descendants, The Rise of Red, Pentatonics, Anika Noni Rose, Andy Grammer, Carly Pierce, Disney on Broadway, and more.
It's a celebration
You won't want to miss Disney Parks' magical Christmas Day Parade.
Streaming Christmas Day on ABC News Live.
The news never stops. We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We heard what appeared to be gunfire. The former president rushed off the stage.
Hurricane Helene ravaging the coastline of Florida.
It's moving really fast, screaming across the state.
And that's why ABC News Live never stops.
Taking you to the center of the story.
As news breaks live.
We hear the small arms fire around us. We're right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
ABC News Live is there for you at the start of your day all morning live. ABC News Live, right there, as events unfold across the day. ABC News Live, breaking down the day's top stories.
Lyle and Eric Menendez, there is new evidence in this case.
ABC News Live Prime going there, wherever the story is. Are you going to build it back up?
And ABC News Live, lighting up the weekend.
With breaking news and all the latest pop headlines.
Happy Oscars Sunday.
A lot to watch for tonight.
ABC News Live.
Because the news never stops.
It's America's biggest countdown party of the year. Join me, Ryan Seacrest, and my co-host, Rita Ora, live from Times Square. It's Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, with epic performances by Cody Johnson, Lenny Kravitz, Teddy Swims, Thomas Rhett, Tinashe, and more. Now there's a reason to celebrate. Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, live December 31st on ABC.
California gets the green light on its plan to ban gas-powered car sales, but more challenges are ahead. The 10 Commandments on the auction block, how much someone paid, and celebrating two very golden birthdays. These stories and more in tonight's rundown.
The Environmental Protection Agency has approved California's plan to ban sales of new gas-powered cars by 2035. But the state's proposed strictest-in-the-nation emission standards and the EPA waiver allowing them will now go before the Supreme Court. It's scheduled to hear a case brought by a group of petroleum producers this spring. 4 Russian warplanes flew just outside U.S. airspace near Alaska, says the North American Aerospace Defense Command. NORAD says they detected and tracked military aircraft and that the military operation was routine. The planes remained in international airspace, but they entered a region beyond U.S. and Canadian sovereign airspace called the Alaska Air Defense Identification Zone. That's where aircraft are expected to identify themselves. This is the latest in a series of recent incidents involving Russian aircraft off the coast of the U.S. The Russian Defense Ministry said its flights were carried out in strict accordance with the international rules for use of airspace. The oldest known stone tablet inscribed with the 10 Commandments sold for more than $5 million at an auction. Sotheby's says the 155-pound marble slab was acquired by an anonymous buyer who plans to donate it to an Israeli institution. The tablet dates from 300 to 800 A.D. and is inscribed with biblical verses familiar to Christian and Jewish traditions, but omits the third commandment against taking the name of the Lord in vain. It's the only complete example of its kind, according to Sotheby's. New York City is ready to ring in the new year. The giant 7-foot-tall 2025 numerals arrived in Times Square today. They'll be on display for visitors to take photos through the weekend. Before the sign, all 620 energy-efficient LED bulbs of it is hoisted atop Times Square. And for the first time, when the crystal ball arrives tomorrow, the public will be invited to help attach this year's crystals in preparation for the big ball drop. The University of Iowa will retire former star Caitlin Clark's number 22 jersey, the school announced today. A ceremony is planned for February 2nd, with Clark planning to revisit her alma mater for the event. Clark finished her college career as the all-time leading scorer in women's and men's Division I history.
I get up every morning, so I feel okay.
Celebrating any birthday over 100 years is a special occasion, but celebrating 2 birthdays, well, that's a party. A New York nursing home threw a double birthday bash for 2 residents over that milestone. One, Catherine Carson, is celebrating her 104th birthday. The other is 101-year-old Martha Jones. Both women grew up not far from each other in Virginia, and now they're making the most of their golden years in New Rochelle.
The Supreme Court has agreed to hear TikTok's challenge over a law that would ban the app if it's not sold to an American company by January 19th. The court will hear arguments on January 10th. The app's Chinese parent company has claimed the law that would force the sale of the app would violate the First Amendment. Donald Trump met with TikTok's CEO at a Mar-a-Lago meeting on Monday, where the president-elect said he has a warm spot for TikTok and that he'd take a look at the ban. For more on what to watch for in this case and what it could mean for TikTok users, we have ABC News contributor and Sirius XM radio host, Mr. Mike Muse, with us. Mike, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So I didn't realize it's pretty astounding. About 1/3 of all Americans use TikTok, by and large, many of them under the age of 30. What do they need to know about this case?
That is why I felt it was so important for the Supreme Court to take this on, because of exactly as you said, how many American users use it. Lindsay, as you know, TikTok isn't just about dancing anymore. TikTok is how people receive their news. And most importantly, Lindsay, TikTok is how small businesses are able to attract new customers. You'll hear so many stories from small business owners who typically wouldn't have the budget for mass marketing campaigns that they got discovered on TikTok, and now lines are around the corner from them. That is what the fundamental question that Supreme Court is going to be asking is the difference between freedom of expression, which is what TikTok is alleging will violate that, or national security, what the government is pushing. These are some vital questions the Supreme Court is asking because the consequences are just so high.
And what would it look like if TikTok is banned? You'd still have the app and it just wouldn't work, or?
Really, also a great question. What makes TikTok so special? And the reason why so many Americans use it is because of the democratization of their algorithm. A lot of other social media apps will play around with different products that they're launching, different tools, getting people to stay in their ecosystem much longer. And if you do, then your post will get promoted a little bit more. TikTok doesn't do that. TikTok just promotes users. If you just have 10 followers, the next day your video can go viral, right? That because of democratization and how TikTok promotes it. It's a democratization of the algorithm, which is why people love it. Now, with that being said, if ByteDance was to sell it off, the American version of it, the algorithm wouldn't work the same because the bulk of the users have to be connected to the mothership, the motherboard. So once you remove that, the American experience will be completely different, as well as the global community experience will also be different.
Are there any other apps out there that you're looking at that they're just kind of waiting their time to perhaps replace TikTok?
Yeah, I'm really interested in the questions that the Supreme Court are going to ask. And what in particular I'm going to ask, if this is about national security, why isn't the federal government also too going after companies like Temu and Shein, which are consumer good companies that also too have our biographical data? Lindsay, they have our credit card information, they have our telephone numbers, they have our address, and most importantly, because the government is saying propaganda, they have our consumer behavior buying patterns, which goes to behavioral buying patterns that they can use to infiltrate for propaganda. If that really is the case, those two companies are owned by Chinese companies too as well. One in particular advertised in the Super Bowl this past year. And so if it is about that, I would be more curious about equitable dynamics between the other companies that are based in China. So why are they just singling out TikTok?
Any words of comfort for those who are worried about how they're going to fill their days no longer potentially scrolling through TikTok?
You know what? I don't have any words of comfort. I will say, though, as of today, I know a lot of TikTok users are very excited that the Supreme Court is willing to take this on. So TikTok lives on to fight another day. I just don't know. I think the key is always, for me, is Justice Roberts. He is always such a moderating voice within this space. I'm curious to see how he's going to respond to this. And I think he'll be a key indicator of ultimately how the Supreme Court will rule.
Always such a good conversation. Mike Muse, thanks so much for coming by.
Thank you.
If you've been doing any of your holiday shopping at TJ Maxx or Home Goods, you might have seen these cute little mugs with the simple words on them. Or maybe you haven't, because a hardcore collector of the insanely popular pottery by designer Ray Dunn has already been snapped off the shelves. Our Byron Pitts has this report.
So right now, the display that I have is my Christmas display. I use the classic red and white.
For Marie Andrews, her pottery collection is part of her signature style.
I always say that my collection is my baby. Like, I genuinely love collecting.
The pharmacist and mother of two has pieces for entertaining and displaying, and endless mugs.
You know, when I finally get my hands on something and I'm like, okay, I never thought I would own this piece, it's rewarding. And when I'm decorating in general, I can just kind of escape.
But this isn't just any pottery line. It's Rae Dunn Pottery, which has gained a cult following.
I think what most people don't realize is that that lettering that is on most of my work, that long writing, is actually my handwriting.
Well, let's Rae Dunn Hunting Wild.
Social media is inundated with hashtags and posts of shoppers showing off their latest Rae Dunn hauls and dazzling displays.
It's Rae Dunn Day.
For Andrews, it's not just a cup or a cookie jar. It's a feeling she gets from Rae Dunn's signature pieces.
All right, how am I feeling today? I'm gonna pick it out and, you know, choose that mug. So I try to make it fun at least.
But for others, these highly coveted collector's items are an opportunity to turn a profit.
It's pottery. It's kind of crazy that it could elicit such a response, but I don't like it.
They want their money's worth because they know that they could resell it. For example, a $12.99 item could resell for $300.
This farmhouse canister originally sold for $7.99, now listed on a popular resale site for 18 times the original cost. Reports of some resellers allegedly attacking sales associates began surfacing.
That kind of gave us collectors a bad name, and I felt like they were just doing it, you know, for money at that point in time.
Alyssa Ratana says she saw some of the insanity when she worked at a home goods store in California several years ago.
In the mornings, the Rae Dunn shoppers would wait outside the store, probably 30 to an hour before we opened. Right when we opened the doors, they would fast walk their way to where the Rae Dunn is at, and they will get physical with each other.
This document circulating online, claiming to be guidance for departments or employees on how to deal with dangerous Rae Dunn customers, including a warning that police may have to be called. In a statement to Nightline, the parent company of Home Goods said in part, "The safety and security of our associates and customers is very important to us. We have many policies and procedures in place that are designed to support our associates and help promote a welcoming store environment for everyone."
I don't think it's worth all the aggression and people fighting over for less than $25.
Don't do that.
Reports of aggressive Rae Dunn shoppers seems to have quieted down in recent years. And Rae Dunn herself says all the noise around her pieces was never her intention.
This was one of the first things that I ever made. You know, I was just doing what I love, stamping a word into the clay, you know, one letter at a time. It was a way for me to communicate something to the world.
Another signature feature of Rae Dunn's early pottery was its intentional imperfections.
I've always loved imperfect things in objects and in people. I remember having instructors who would try and get me to smooth out the clay, and I would say I want it to look like a person made it and not a machine.
Tom Arabili, consumer trends expert, says those so-called flaws were part of the mass appeal.
You get the sense immediately that her product it's not fussy, it's not perfect.
There's always been the must-have item, the one that creates shopper chaos, like Stanley Cups and the Cabbage Patch Kid dolls in the 80s and Beanie Babies in the 90s. When Rae Dunn licensed her work to Magenta Inc. 20 years ago, who partnered with TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Home Goods, she started a chain reaction that would allow her brand to pack a wallop.
I was making every single thing by hand, and I was working like 15, 18 hours a day, like nonstop. I couldn't keep up. I never intended it to be a brand. My goal was to be able to pay my rent every month.
Her brand getting a boost in the early 2010s, around the same time people embraced the simple modern farmhouse style and the words on the wall look made popular by shows like Joanna and Chip Gaines' Fixer Upper.
I wanted to feel like home and I wanted to have a story.
Rae Dunn took phrases like live, laugh, love, and Friday, exploding in popularity, and combined it with her own unique style. her art expressing the voice she says she always struggled to find.
I come from a family with 5 kids. I always felt unheard and unseen, and I was and am painfully shy and quiet. I created my own little world where it was safe and I did what I wanted to do. And I was never trying to get attention from anyone, and I was never trying to please anyone.
What strikes me about Rae Dunn product is that I can pick up a bowl that says, think, okay? And it means something completely different to me than it means to you. The versatility of sentiment is very important.
Usually, when you pick up older items, they'll have different stamps on the bottom.
Marie Andrews has become what's known as a vintage Rae Dunn collector, focusing on pieces from Dunn's early days, some of them handmade.
Originally, when the Rae Dunn brand exploded or became popular, it was known for like dimples. As you transition over to newer items, you start to see they're just smooth. A vintage collector, you're finding items that you can't find in the store.
When Marie posted this photo of her carefully curated collection, Dunn herself reposted it.
From 2017 to now, I've collected so many gems, so who knows what I'll find in 5 years.
Marie's social media page caught the attention of popular magazine Good Housekeeping back in 2017.
Hi, my name is Marie, and I am the face behind Simply Andrews on Instagram.
She showcased her pieces on their YouTube.
My most expensive item has probably been this canister. I don't know what life would be like without collecting. I always say, like, somebody probably has a handmade plate at their home and they don't even know the value, and somebody like myself is like, do you know what that is?
I love that people respond to my work. I like to think that they use my work to tell their own story and create their own narrative. I don't know where this journey will take me, but so far it has been far beyond what I could have ever imagined.
Love to see the success of that journey. Our thanks to Byron Pitts for bringing us that. That is our show for this hour. I'm Linsey Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Coming up in the next hour, in the wake of the Supreme Court's ruling on affirmative action in colleges, the call to action as the number of Black and Hispanic students in one of the country's most prestigious programs plummets. But first, the Republican infighting that has Washington on the verge of a government shutdown.
What makes Elton John so iconic?
Everyone's talking about
Elton John.
Sir Elton John. Elton John.
Elton
John.
There will never be another. Everything that you want Elton John to be is.
Superstar and a legend. Now, Elton John opens up the exclusive interview with Elton John.
I'm still standing, and I am better than I ever did. And there's a lot more to come.
Elton John, still standing. Now streaming on Hulu.
They're violent criminals, so they're not going to go down easy. Let's get this done.
Being a cop is stressful. 24/7.
Every year on the job is different. You never really stop being a rookie.
Because if we lose control, bad things happen.
Work smarter, not harder. Hey, good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Are you ready? They are ready. Covering the biggest events in the country right now.
There's a lot going on here this morning.
You don't just see it, you feel it. I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in too. I'll be there.
I am here and so happy.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
Michael, George, Clara,
Ginger.
All we want is to find our way home.
I'll get you home. Got a crew of murderous bounty hunters. He's coming after us. We have to move fast.
We have no idea who he is.
You can trust me.
You're a Jedi, right?
Of course. Watch this.
Skeleton Crew. New episodes Tuesdays, only on Disney+.
The news never stops. We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We heard what appeared to be gunfire. The former president rushed off the stage.
Hurricane Helene ravaging the coastline of Florida.
It's moving really fast, screaming across the state.
And that's why ABC News Live never stops.
Taking you to the center of the story.
As news breaks live.
We hear the small arms fire around us. We're right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
ABC News Live is there for you at the start of your day all morning live. ABC News Live, right there as events unfold across the day. ABC News Live, breaking down the day's top stories.
Lyle and Eric Menendez, there is new evidence in this case.
ABC News Live Prime going there, wherever the story is. Are you going to build it back up?
And ABC News Live lighting up the weekends.
With breaking news and all the latest pop headlines.
Happy Oscars Sunday.
A lot to watch for tonight.
ABC News Live.
Because the news never stops.
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We begin tonight with the holidays right around the corner. Washington on the verge of a government shutdown, with Republicans seemingly unable to get on the same page. President-elect Trump is telling aides he's against an earlier proposed bill that Speaker Mike Johnson is urging his party to support. This is on the heels of major public criticism from Elon Musk. Speaker Johnson says it's critical to pass the bill, which would fund the government until March, when the new Republican trifecta can start passing their agenda. Today, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said Democrats had an agreement with Republicans to give disaster assistance to everyday Americans. In a statement, Trump says Democrats are holding up aid to farmers and disaster relief and has threatened to primary Republicans who support the bill. Meanwhile, Elon Musk has threatened that anyone who votes for the bill will be voted out in 2 years. Amidst the fallout, Republicans are now scrambling to find a new deal that will satisfy the president-elect Musk and even Democrats to get the votes they need in order to pass it. This comes as ABC News has learned the House Ethics Committee quietly voted earlier this month to release that controversial ethics report on embattled former Representative Matt Gaetz, Trump's brief pick for Attorney General. We begin tonight with our chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce in Washington.
Tonight, after a relentless pressure campaign from billionaire Elon Musk, Washington is now barreling towards a possible government shutdown just days before Christmas. Musk calling a shutdown infinitely better than passing a horrible bill, threatening that any lawmaker who supports it deserves to be voted out. The bipartisan deal that would keep the government up and running for 3 months was brokered by Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson.
We got to get this done because here's the key. By doing this, we are clearing the decks and we are setting up for Trump to come in roaring back with the America First agenda.
But this morning, Musk, who President-elect Donald Trump has tapped to lead a new department on government efficiency, posting on X, this spending bill is a crime. The bill would fund the government through mid-March. Among other things, it includes $100 billion in disaster relief and billions more in assistance for farmers. But Musk says it's also bloated with wasteful spending. Republican leaders today caught off guard by Musk's pressure play.
There will be a lot of hard votes in the next couple of years, and it's not always going to be the case that the outside world, the social media audience, is going to be weighing in.
If Congress doesn't pass the bill by Saturday and the government shuts down, millions of federal workers could head into the holidays without paychecks. Some will be furloughed, others asked to work without pay. That includes some members of the military and other critical government workers like TSA agents and air traffic controllers, just as the holiday travel craze begins. Late today, Trump finally weighing in, criticizing the bill without telling Republicans exactly what to do, urging them to get smart and tough. But Democrats tonight are blunt.
House Republicans will now own any harm that is visited upon the American people that results from a government shutdown or worse.
Our thanks to Mary Bruce. The lawyer for the suspect in the murder of a health insurance CEO on a Manhattan street tells ABC News his client will waive extradition and agree to be moved to New York. Here's Aaron Katersky with the latest.
Tonight, a source close to accused killer Luigi Mangione says he's expected to waive extradition, clearing the way for his move to New York City as early as tomorrow to face charges for the targeted murder of United Healthcare chief Brian Thompson.
I'm ready to bring him back here and to make sure that justice is served to someone who had the audacity to gun down any New Yorker. I don't care what their title is.
Mangioni's been at a Pennsylvania prison since his arrest last week. He's due to appear before a judge in the morning and within hours could be brought to New York, booked, and arraigned on a charge of murder in furtherance of terrorism.
This was a killing that was intended to evoke terror.
It also unleashed anger at insurance companies and displays of admiration for the alleged killer, something the NYPD called vile.
Social media has erupted with praise for this cowardly attack. People ghoulishly plastered posters threatening the CEOs, other CEOs, with an X over Mr. Thompson's picture.
Outside a gathering of CEOs last night, just steps from the crime scene, protesters called for more violence, invoking the same words found written on the gunman's shell casings.
Aaron Katursky reporting. We turn now to the growing concern over bird flu in this country. Today, California declared a state of emergency because of the number of cases in animals there, and the CDC revealed the first case of severe bird flu in a person here in the U.S. Steve Osinsami reports from the CDC in Atlanta tonight.
California's state of emergency tonight will give public health officials more resources and people to fight the bird flu virus that spread from animals to humans and made dozens of farm workers sick. This year alone, tens of millions of birds have been killed in America from exposure to the avian virus, and 61 people have already gotten sick, half of them in California. But tonight is the first time authorities are reporting that an American is seriously sick. They're only sharing that the sick patient, now hospitalized, lives in Louisiana, is over 65, had underlying medical conditions, and caught the virus from sick and dead birds in their backyard and not on a farm.
What is striking here is that this is the first serious illness, one that required hospitalization. Most earlier cases were mild or asymptomatic. Currently, there is no human-to-human spread, and this is very important because the risk to the general public still is very low.
Most of the human cases have come from the disease spreading to cows, chickens, and turkeys, and then to farm workers who worked with the sick animals. It's one of the reasons why the price of eggs is up more than 37% since last year.
Steve Osinsami reporting. Tonight, there are multiple storms barreling across the country just as the holiday travel season is starting to ramp up. Let's get right to our chief meteorologist, Ginger Z. So, Ginger, time out this holiday mess for us. And also, is it too early to be dreaming of a white Christmas?
Definitely too early in a lot of places, only because we're going to be warming considerably from Christmas Day on. But I'll show you that in a bit. Lindsay, let's start with what's happening now, because so many people are hitting the roads and getting on the airplanes already. Tonight, we've got this rain, and it is heavy at times from Philadelphia up to eventually Boston as that rain-snow line mixes over in the northern Poconos and Catskills. You'll see the Green and White Mountains pick up some of that snow tonight as well into Maine. We're going to move all of that out, though, after 2 a.m. So everybody's dry for the big travel day tomorrow in the Northeast, but there's a new storm. So we're watching this one. The Twin Cities is nearly a foot below average to date for this season. So that's a big deal. So they need snow, and they're going to get it 3 to 6 inches with a swath that cuts right through central Wisconsin. Madison will pick up some, Green Bay, the north side of Chicago, like Evanston, Winnetka, up to Milwaukee, and then Grand Rapids over in West Michigan, my hometown there. Then it kind of expands as it twirls over. The Appalachia gets it, West Virginia. This is for Friday night. Look at New York City. It's real close to that rain-snow line. So picking up a little bit might feel festive, especially going into the weekend before the holidays. But what won't feel as festive for you potentially is the cold. We're talking the coldest air of the season. Wind chills in the single digits. That is a 9 and an 8 you see on New York City for wind chill on Sunday and Monday. Even Atlanta in the 20s. Orlando in the 40s. Low 40s. That's freezing for them. And sub-zero, obviously, way up in the northern plains. However, the warm-up happens pretty quickly. By Christmas Day on until New Year's, we are much above average, and we're talking the potential for record highs when we're looking at Chicago or, say, anywhere in the Great Lakes down into St. Louis. Lindsay.
Oh, my son is going to be so disappointed. He's already eagerly awaiting a white Christmas here in the Northeast. We'll see.
I hope he gets a little bit on Friday night, maybe to get him in the mood.
We will see. All right, Ginger, thanks so much. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear TikTok's challenge over a law that would ban the app if it's not sold to an American company by January 19th. The court is to hear arguments on January 10th. The app's Chinese parent company has claimed the law that would force the sale of the app would violate the First Amendment. Donald Trump met with TikTok CEO at Mar-a-Lago on Monday, where the president-elect said he has a warm spot for TikTok and that he'd take a look at the ban. A jarring revelation from Pope Francis tonight, writing in a new memoir that security forces thwarted 2 attempts on his life, including a suicide bomber during his visit to Iraq in 2021. The pontiff wrote that he was told the would-be assassins were, quote, intercepted by Iraqi police. Here's our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell.
Tonight, the stunning revelation from Pope Francis. 2 plots to assassinate him during a high-risk visit to Iraq in 2021 thwarted. In excerpts from his forthcoming autobiography, just published in Italian newspaper Corriere della Sera, the Pope says he was advised against the trip. The pontiff wanted to go to Mosul, the recently liberated capital of the so-called Islamic State.
Go.
But he was alerted to 2 assassination plots by Vatican security after a tip-off from British intelligence. A woman stuffed with explosives, a young suicide bomber, was on her way to Mosul to blow herself up, he writes. And a van had also left at full speed with the same intent. Despite the extreme danger, Francis bravely went to Mosul, releasing a dove for peace. Later, holding open-air mass in nearby Erbil. We were there.
There are incredible scenes here. Incredible for Christians, Yazidis, Arabs and Kurds. In a country devastated by war and terror, the Pope is here on a pilgrimage of peace.
The following day, asking Vatican security what happened to the 2 bombers, the commander replied laconically, they're no longer there. The Iraqi police had intercepted them and detonated them.
Linsey, you know, Pope Francis turned 88 just yesterday. It's kind of timed with the release of his book. And in that book, he reveals that, frankly, he's lucky to be alive. And the title, Hope. Linsey?
So fitting. Ian, thank you. News tonight on New York's embattled Mayor Eric Adams. Sources tell ABC News the mayor's former chief advisor, Ingrid Lewis-Martin, is expected to surrender tomorrow to face charges brought by the Manhattan District Attorney. Lewis-Martin just resigned her job with the mayor on Sunday. The charges against her are not related to the federal charges against Mayor Adams. Last year, the Supreme Court's conservative majority effectively ended affirmative action at U.S. colleges, overturning their own decades' worth of precedents, which had ruled affirmative action constitutional as long as a student's race was only one of the factors considered during the admissions process. The latest ruling stemmed from 2 cases regarding the admissions programs at UNC and Harvard. The court decided their programs violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. Harvard reported on Monday that the number of black students in their latest law school class dropped to 19 from 43 the year before, and the number of Hispanic students also declined steeply to 32 compared to 63 the year before. Joining us now is the president of the Harvard Black Law Students Association, Sean Wynn. Sean, thank you so much for joining us. You wrote in a statement that Harvard and other law schools must now, quote, take immediate action to ensure the democratization of legal education. How can this be done without running afoul of the Supreme Court's rulings?
Thank you so much for having me. I think there are currently still on the application for Harvard and for many other law schools ways to account for other factors of the identity that aren't race. Like, for example, there's on the Harvard Law School application, there's a first gen checkbox, whether or not your sexual orientation, as well as your status as a veteran of the armed services. So I believe that there are creative ways that the law school must figure out to account for more factors of the identity to allow for more diverse students to come onto this campus and account for those diverse perspectives in the application process.
You also said in that statement that there's significant pressure on black students to represent the black community in all its complexity. Give us a glimpse of how that might play out in the classroom.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As you can imagine, the biggest effect is, I'm in my 3rd year. The biggest effect is on of course, the first year law students who are, in sections with 80 people. And for example, there's one section where, there are 2 black students and 1 black man. And the nature of the first year law experience is you are learning so much from the people around you. And what often happens and what is happening is we have singular students who are expected to account for and to speak for all Black people that are on and off this campus.
Tell us where specifically you find fault in the Supreme Court's latest rationale on affirmative action.
I think for me the fault is that what affirmative action was not, I think, just blanketly giving points for being from a certain from a certain background. What it was doing was, I think, putting students more on an equal footing. I think, when you're not accounting for diversity, the selection of candidates occurs from a narrower set of backgrounds. Many state schools and many HBCUs, they don't have the same pre-law curriculum. They don't have the same summer internship placement or the investment into postgraduate offerings. So when you sort of don't allow for a school to, account for things besides, GPA and LSAT and, sort of work experience, you really just are, I think, damaging the, just the education experience. So I don't think that the Supreme Court ruling really understood this, understood this context, and it's very sad.
Sean Nguyen, president of the Harvard Black Law Students Association, we truly appreciate your time and insight. Thank you so much. A potential Grinch turned into a Santa of sorts in New Jersey. Local police report that a pair of package thieves were caught on a doorbell camera stealing an Amazon package and taunting the homeowner by twerking for the camera before running off. The homeowner posted the video online to warn neighbors, and the clip quickly went viral. After the digital shaming, the suspects returned to the scene of the crime and deposited the package on the front step. Unfortunately, the contents were broken. Now to the economy. The Federal Reserve cut interest rates today, another quarter percentage point, the third rate cut in a row. But it's what Fed Chief Jerome Powell said after that announcement that sent stocks sharply lower. The Dow closed down for the 10th straight day for the first time since 1974 after setting 48 record highs this year. Our chief economics correspondent Rebecca Jarvis joins us now. Rebecca, quite a dramatic fall in the Dow today.
Yeah, a dramatic pullback for stocks, with Wall Street acknowledging that it looks like interest rates, that is the cost of borrowing, everything from a new car loan to a mortgage to your credit card APRs, are going to stay higher for longer. That's what Fed Chair Powell said today when he told the markets that there will be 2 interest rate cuts next year. That's what the Fed anticipates, and that's fewer than what Wall Street was expecting. That is what sent stocks dramatically lower, with the Dow plunging down more than 1,100 points. We're now on day 10 of this losing streak. As you say, it is the longest losing streak since 1974. That's back when Ford was president. The one possible saving grace for your savings and your own pocketbooks at home is that today's interest rate cut means you'll save a little bit of money in the new year on those credit card bills. Lindsay?
At least there's that. All right, Rebecca Jarvis, our thanks to you. Still much more to get to. The shock and concern tonight after a cyclone slammed a small French island. Fears tonight that hundreds, even thousands of people could have been killed. And harrowing rescue after a cave explorer was trapped for 75 hours underground.
How many elephants have you killed? True natural beauty, one of the last of its kind. But this comes at a cost. 5 countries, 5 incredible real stories of adventure, danger,
We have to go.
and deceit. Where are we going next? We got this ongoing search for the animal we've been trying to find. These are the last lands. The national parks around the world that have to be saved.
There.
ABC Thursday night.
It was a brazen homicide. It doesn't take a genius to realize that Manhattan is covered with cameras. And in this case, the suspect is actually a genius.
There's a story here.
It's just not that simple.
Luigi Mangione, the untold story. How did he go from honor student and Ivy League to alleged killer?
He's a handsome young person. Social media is going nuts for him. It's a made-for-TV drama.
Manhunt, Luigi Mangione and the CEO murder. Thursday night on ABC.
What makes Elton John so iconic?
Everyone's talking about
Elton John.
Sir Elton John.
Elton John.
Elton John.
There will never be another. Everything that you want Elton John to be is.
Superstar and a legend.
Now, Elton John opens up the exclusive interview with Elton John.
I'm still standing, and I am better than I ever did. And there's a lot more to come.
Elton John, still standing. Now streaming on Hulu.
Reporting from New York, I'm Eva Pilgrim. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. We're tracking several headlines around the world. Officials fear that thousands may have been killed when Storm Cheeto ripped through the French overseas territory of Mayotte. The cyclone struck 4 days ago and is thought to be the worst storm to hit the Indian Ocean archipelago in 90 years. It destroyed homes in Mozambique and flattened entire towns in Mayotte, where damage to infrastructure is hindering rescue and relief efforts. Alpine rescue teams extracted 32-year-old cave explorer Ottavia Piana from a cave in Bergamo, Italy today. 3 days after she fell more than 26 feet in an unexplored section of the cave and was then trapped. Piana suffered multiple injuries, including trauma to her ribs, knee, and face. She was airlifted to a hospital for treatment. The first domestic flight since the fall of Bashar al-Assad landed in Aleppo, Syria today to the jubilation of passengers. It was a symbolic moment on the day the international airport reopened in Damascus. The UN Special Envoy to Syria also met with Syria's HTS rebel leaders today as talks begin on whether sanctions can be lifted to provide economic support to what the UN Special Envoy called a new Syria. And still to come, an elementary school student was bullied because of her race. Now, sixth grader Sally Ba is a published author and illustrator. How she used her personal pain to empower others.
They're violent criminals, so they're not going to go down easy.
Let's get this done.
Being a cop is stressful. 24/7.
Every year on the job is different. You never really stop being a rookie.
Because if we lose control, bad things happen.
Work smarter, not harder.
The news never stops. We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We heard what appeared to be gunfire. The former president rushed off the stage.
Hurricane Helene ravaging the coastline of Florida.
It's moving really fast, screaming across the state.
And that's why ABC News Live never stops.
Taking you to the center of the story.
As news breaks live.
We hear the small arms fire around us.
We're right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
ABC News Live is there for you at the start of your day, all morning live.
ABC News Live, right there, as events unfold across the day.
ABC News Live, breaking down the day's top stories.
Lyle and Eric Menendez, there is new evidence in this case.
ABC News Live Prime going there, wherever the story is. Are you going to build it back up?
And ABC News Live, lighting up the weekends.
With breaking news and all the latest pop headlines.
Happy Oscars Sunday.
A lot to watch for tonight.
ABC News Live.
Because the news never stops.
Happy holidays, everyone. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Join live for a festive month filled with big stars and musical performances.
Love it.
And holly jolly holiday games.
It's a family affair.
With baked cookies and peppermint in the air.
Now I'm hungry.
Plus, Live's annual sweater party.
I was told you would be wearing the matching headband.
We've all heard the saying, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. Well, one creative 11-year-old author took her experienced hardships and turn it into a book. In Rise Above, author Salie Ba shares her lived experience with discrimination and some advice on how you can turn a negative situation into a positive one. And joining us now is Miss Salie Ba. Thank you so much for joining us, Salie.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
So we are excited to have you. This book is really so personal, and you begin by dedicating it to all who ever felt like they don't belong. Tell us more about that and what inspired you to begin writing about your own experiences.
Yeah, I wrote it really because I had felt horrible at the time that this incident had happened, because racism is a big issue, but it's more of a universal issue than just for somebody, just one person going through something like this. And so I decided that I was going to be, part of the change to make this a more universal and more brought to attention, because, things like this will happen, but you have to be ready to cope with them and be able to overcome them.
So true. And it's my understanding this initially started out as a speech. What made you feel that this was a good opportunity to turn it into a book?
I realized that this is more than just something that I should be talking to with just, people in my class or people from my school, because I know that this is, more than just a small issue that, people every day deal with this type of thing. And so I decided that, I was going to make something that other people around the world could benefit from. So that way, at least if this does happen again, which is horrible that it even has to, but, if it does, that people know how to overcome this type of thing and cope with these things.
And there was apparently an incident in your own life. You experienced racism. How did you make sure that you expressed your emotions and disapproval of this rather than just bottling it up and holding those emotions inside?
Yeah, I realized, that most of the time when this happens, people are just like, they bottle it up inside and just, brush it off as something that is just something to laugh about, but it really isn't, because the people that are doing these types of things, they don't really realize that this is more than just a small issue. And so that I thought that I was going to just bottle my emotions up, but I decided that I was going to help people rather than just keeping it to myself, because people need to speak up for this thing to be heard of, and so that it's okay to find your voice. I want to teach people that it's okay to speak up and find your voice and advocate for this type of stuff.
So you not only wrote the book, but you also illustrated it as well. There are a lot of grown adults who say, I don't know where to begin to write a book. How did you begin? At just 11 years old now, I know you're 12, but at 11, how did you figure out how to put your words and artwork into a book that would be sold?
I really have loved art since a very young age, since I was like 3. And I knew that I wanted to do something with this. But when the right opportunity came, I just knew, okay, I have to do something that I can do what I love, where I can do what I love. And so I started writing, and then I was like, this needs some illustrations, and I'm already great at that, so I might as well, right? And I love doing this type of thing. And since this is a bad situation, why not overcome this with something that I already love doing?
Well, we thank you so much for doing that, Salie, and coming on our show. You can find Rise Above, How to Turn a Negative Situation into a Positive One, wherever books are sold. Congratulations to you, Salie. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Linsey Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us.
ABC Thursday night.
It was a brazen homicide. It doesn't take a genius to realize that Manhattan is covered with cameras.